For me, worship is our response to his utmost relentless love for us. And no matter what we've done, no matter who we are, we can always come home.
In that moment, I just felt such a sense of peace and God's love, and I just felt like I'd come home.
I used to just snap at anyone, but now I just feel whole. I'm complete.
I didn't even realise that that was how much pain I had inside of me. And afterwards, I just felt so amazing and peaceful.
I heard about this guy when I was growing up. He was a real family man, a really good guy actually. And he had 2 sons, and he loved them so much. Then for some reason, one day the younger son decided to take money from his dad and then disown the family. He packed up everything he had and left, going as far away from home as he could. Despite his parents' search, nobody knew where he was. All we know is it was a dark place. He ended up wasting all the money that he'd taken from his dad. When the country he was in was hit by economic crisis, he couldn't even get a job, so things got a lot worse. He ended up eating the waste food that was meant for the pigs.
That he was lost, he had nowhere to go, and
he was empty. He'd run out of money,
and he thinks, gosh, this is going to cost me, but the only place I've got to go is back to my father's house.
And on his way, he's trying to figure out how do I say I'm sorry.
But the father is waiting and waiting and waiting for the son to arrive.
And he just can't believe his eyes, and crying.
When he sees his son, like in the furthest point of the hill, he begins to run, and back then that would have been the most disgraceful thing for a grown man to pick up his like clothes and to show his feet and his ankles and his legs, but he did it anyway.
Dad doesn't wait for him to get to the front door before kind of saying, okay, so what's your story?
He runs all the way down and he meets him and just grabs him and embraces him and hugs him and cries with him.
I love you, my son. I know you slipped up and I forgive you. Come here and I'm going to wrap my arms around you because I love you.
He puts a ring on his finger, a robe over his back, and he says this is a cause for celebration.
Being welcomed back in such a way would, yeah, just really, it would just tear your heart to know that you're so loved even though you totally screwed it.
I think for so much of my life and my story, worship has been a route home.
I see him now as my father, and I'm a son of God, and it's radically changed everything in my life.
I'd really started to struggle with, struggled for years with depression, and actually I'm so confused about a lot of things with church, and it was such a healing time just to realise that actually I didn't need to have it all figured out, and just really like I did to sort of discover like God's love again in that, and sort of not having to hide from God.
A lady from our church came and prayed for me. I just remember her praying like, if you never worship God ever again, if you never say I love you ever again, He will still love you.
I have so much more value for myself. I know what I deserve, and in the past where I've allowed people to maybe talk to me a certain way, or bad relationships to happen, and I've accepted things and accepted the way people have spoken to me. Now I just wouldn't stand for that, and I know that I'm loved and I'm cherished. So
I used to like look at myself and hate myself. Having the one-on-one relationship with him's just completely changed me massively. Like, I had anger issues. I used to be so angry, and then since praying, since having the support of like my friends around, anger's just completely gone.
I used to be quite sad or anxious, and I used to be alone, but then God showed me that I could be cheerful and I could be happy, and now that's what I am.
It's made me whole, happy. I just used to get angry and just go out my ways just to annoy people and just to start fights or arguments. But now I just feel fuzzy inside, and I just feel like it doesn't matter. God's with me. He's on my side, and I just want to share His love.
I didn't even realise that was how much pain I had inside of me. And afterwards I just felt so amazing and peaceful, and it just made me realise that God is there for you. He's been there in every single bit, every single step, and nothing you can do will ever turn Him away from you, because I've done some horrible things in my life. Like a week ago I was ready to kill myself. I came here as a last kind of resort. It was, I spent my last bit of money kind of being like, okay, I'll come here. If God, if you're real, show yourself to me. And yeah, I'm still not 100% there. I still don't know if I believe in all of it, but I know that God's grace will always be with me. No matter what anybody else says, that God's grace will always be with me. And it just makes me happy.